Today's SME lenders face a number of challenges due to the increasing digitization of the landscape, and a big one of those is, of course, data compliance. It's complex, it's intricate, and that means they have to kind of jump through, have a web of compliance and legal things to deal with. And a big question is, of course, how do they do that, and how do they stay compliant into the future? So to answer all of these questions, we have Marnix de Lange, Head of SaaS at 5 Degrees. So Marnix, could you please just tell us who you are and a little bit about, shortly, what you do at 5 Degrees?
Thank you, Elliot. Like you mentioned, my name is Marnix de Lange, Head of SaaS for 5 Degrees. And in my role, I'm responsible for the daily operations and incident handling of our core banking platform, our SaaS core banking platform, making sure the platform is running and performing according to specs and that we meet all the service level agreements for our customers.
So thank you for that answer and short introduction into you and what you do at 5 Degrees. So to bring it back a little bit, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when speaking about data compliance for banks and lenders?
Of course, all banks and lenders have to be compliant with legislation and the rules set by the regulators, like the Dutch National Bank. If you look at the legislation that applies to data compliance, then GDPR is the first thing that pops up in your mind. GDPR regulates how data is processed and stored, and what we can do with data and what we can't do with data. Of course, it's really important to realize that the data that customers use and store on a platform is not our data. It belongs to the customer, so we cannot access it without good cause and written prior approval. By ensuring we have all our processes in place, we help our customers be compliant.
Can you expand a little bit more on how 5 Degrees ensures data confidentiality, integrity, and availability?
Yes, I can. Of course, all the customers have their own requirements for data integrity, availability, and confidentiality. And we build a platform to be secure and to ensure that we can meet those requirements. We have a control framework that also dictates how we should access or handle our customer data in accordance to the data processing agreement we have in place with the customer. So the control framework is externally audited, and it shows that we can actually prove that we do tests to restore data from backup, to do disaster recovery if we need to another availability zone in Azure. And this really gives confidence and trust to our customers that we have our processes in place and we follow up on them. What's of course also really important for the customers is that we're able to tell them who did what with their data on what time and through which interface. And for that reason, we built extensive auditing capabilities into our platform, so we can actually trace every change to data, where did it come from, who did it, what account was used, through what interface, APIs or UI. And if needed, we can hand over the data to the customer, or we can do the investigation on their behalf without accessing the actual data inside the system, but you can see who interacted with it. What's also important for customers, the regulators require they have an exit plan. So what if we stop doing business or they don't want to do business with us anymore? They need to be able to get their own data out of the system because it's their data. With our platform, our customers can retrieve the data 24/7 without our intervention or help. So that's covered in all from all angles, and they really own it.
All right, good. So besides security frameworks and audits, how does 5 Degrees enable user data compliance?
What we also have in place, of course, is monitoring. So we monitor the platform around the clock and for any of the abnormalities. And if you see that, of course, we also do reporting on that. The customer has 24/7 insights in the actual contents of the system. Mm-hmm. And even though it's a microservices system, we have a nice aggregation layer where the customer can access the data in an easy way to see if it's all in order and sync it to the data warehouse to see that everything is how it should be. Next to that, of course, we also do updates on our platform. and to ensure that the data stays safe and sound. We also do a lot of regression testing, mostly automated, where we verify that the inputs and outcomes of the procedures or the processes we call is the way we expect it to be. And that combined should give the customer confidence that the data integrity is secured in a good way.
Okay. And during the updates, during your updates, there's no downtime on the platform, or how does that work?
The platform itself is not down, but we do block some interfaces during those updates to prevent the data being corrupted or people doing updates while we're updating a service. So there is some impact, but it should not be customer affecting.
Okay, so how do all these due diligence processes and checks and update affect time to market?
If a company wants to become our customer, of course, then most time is spent upfront in the RFI process and actually the contracting phase. But after that, if we know what the customer wants, what features they want to use in the platform, it's really easy for us to just configure those features and then do a deployment for the specific customer and hand over an environment so they can start testing straight away. So yeah, after the signatures has been set, or even before that, if you know quite certain the customer is going to go ahead, we can really spin up an environment for them that's exclusive to them, of course, in a really short period of time. So time to market in that perspective is quite short.
So Marnix, thank you for giving all these very precise and insightful answers, and hope to be hearing from you again on data and compliance.
Thank you, Alice. You're welcome.